is the best friend of impunity, and it needs to be broken. Men as well as boys must act as powerful change agents. They must take their responsibility and call their fellow peers to end violence against women. In today's edition of the program, Women and Leadership on Canal International, we are talking specifically on the role of men in ending gender-based violence. We'll be right back. And there are more and more campaigns for women as well as men to end gender-based violence. It is a growing phenomenon, disturbing community, society. You can name the rest. In today's edition, we are looking at the role of men in ending gender-based violence. We know that men act as fathers, brothers, husbands, and public advocates in both speaking up against gender-based violence and girls on women and girls as well, and defying the destructive stereotypes that serve to normalize inequality in our society. Today, you can watch our past editions. You need to go to YouTube, and on Facebook, you just need to type Canal International Women and Leadership. You type the thematic, and you can watch all our past editions. In today's edition of the program, like we said, we focus on the role of men in ending gender-based violence. We'll be right back. The program is Women and Leadership, and today we're talking about the role of men in ending gender-based violence. It's true, it's not the first time we are treating this thematic, but this time around we thought it wise to bring a man to talk about this very crucial problem affecting our families and our communities. And we have invited, just like in other editions, just the finest brain to give you provide analysis on this problem. And I'll begin with someone who is very close to me. He's called Pastor Acha Diodani. You're welcome to the program.
Thank you so much.
It's been a while.
Pleasure. It's really been a while.
All right, we equally have Giselle Tamben. Did I pronounce your name well?
Yes, almost.
You are an entrepreneur, always ensuring that women are on top form and innovative to promote their businesses and also helping Cameroon's economy. We equally have Richard Epese. He is an artist. You're welcome to Cameroon.
Thank you.
You have this concept that's new on bringing men together and telling them that they need to stop gender-based violence, right?
Yeah.
That's why you're here today.
Yeah.
We equally have Tato Kenneth. I was taking care in pronouncing your name. He is a relationship counselor, let me say relationship and family counselor. You're welcome to the program. I know he's also a banker, but right now he's talking about families. He's acting in the capacity of a relationship counselor, right?
Yeah, my utmost pleasure to be here, Maureen. Thanks a lot for bringing us on this platform to share on important issues.
All right. I want us to begin. Let's just go straight to our thematic of today without wasting much time, right? Let the discussion begin. And what explains the reticence of men in ending gender-based violence, Pastor Acha?
I want to think that before we could really get into trying to find a solution, we must first know what are the problems.
No, before we even get to the problem, I'm asking why men are so reticent in denouncing. It's true that women have not been denouncing, but why are the men not denouncing gender-based violence?
Well, by nature, by everything, a man wants to be at the top. And sometimes the woman wants to. A woman can never be a man. You can head the family financially, but you cannot be the man. And men sometimes feel like, I'm not really a man. I want to be a man. So that's why I always cause the problem. You find it like it's an ego that is difficult. And if a woman is resisting, it becomes a problem. Yes.
Richard Epese, do you agree with him?
Je pense que bonjour à tous et merci de m'avoir invité à ce panel. En ma qualité de cofondateur de ce mouvement qui se veut Man Stop Man, ce qui veut dire que voilà, mon voisin, mes chers voisins, c'est qui mieux qu'un homme pour dire à un autre stopper la violence envers les femmes. Et je pense que, comme il a dit si bien le pasteur, la nature de l'homme, c'est d'abord de dominer. La domination est naturelle, bien sûr, mais dans une vie de société, il faut faire des concessions. Et c'est pour ça que je viens interpeller mes collègues, mes frères, hommes tout simplement, que nous devons mettre de l'eau dans notre vin et de considérer la femme comme une partie de nous et non pas comme une adversaire.
Pourquoi les hommes ne dénoncent pas la violence contre la femme?
Mais c'est pour ça qu'on a mis en place cette campagne pour justement sensibiliser les hommes, parce qu'il faut commencer ce travail à partir de...
Qu'est-ce que les hommes vous disent?
Mais quelquefois,
chez les frères, vos amis, qu'est-ce que vous dites par rapport aux violences?
Ceux qui sont moins, disons, impliqués, plutôt que ceux qui pensent que ce qu'on raconte, qu'on essaie d'apporter comme solution est une vue de l'esprit, sont des gens qui eux-mêmes ont vécu un passé difficile. Et donc, ils reproduisent un petit peu ce qu'ils ont vécu. Mais quand on a affaire à un homme qui n'a pas, évidemment, vécu ce genre de choses, il est beaucoup plus à l'écoute et beaucoup plus pondéré. D'ailleurs, sa vie même le montre, parce que on peut bien comprendre que si nous, les hommes, on a la testostérone, les femmes n'en ont pas, et donc on veut régler tous les problèmes par la violence physique, alors qu'il y a le dialogue qui doit s'installer, on doit pouvoir parler ensemble pour trouver des solutions quand il y a des problèmes.
Now, Mr. Tanto Kenneth, do you think that men are scared of criticizing gender-based violence because they themselves are guilty?
I want to disagree with you that men are not doing, we can say they're not doing enough. I want two things, I have two submissions to make. First and foremost, violence against women is a long-standing issue. It dates back from Bible days. And when I come back, I will surely develop a little in addition to what I am saying now. So it's a long-standing issue, and I was made to understand that all habits die hard. So it is not something that can just easily...
It's not something new.
Yeah, it is a long-standing challenge.
And nothing seems to be changing. It's a growing phenomenon.
It is a growing phenomenon, and as I've said, as we develop further, we'll be able to identify why. Then the next thing I want to say is that it's not like men are just, reluctant to denounce or to stop gender-based violence, which is in the disfavor of women. Most of the time, it is reactive. And I think in the course of the sharing here also, we'll surely give a word of admonition to women to also avoid pressing the buttons of some men who end up going violent, though it's not a justification. But I want to say that sometimes it is reactive.
Giselle, do you have the impression that men have given their voice in gender-based violence? Do you have the impression that men have been there to denounce such practices on women? Have you felt it? Do you feel it?
I will say that I can feel it, but as is a systemic issue, because the gender-based violence is an effect, is a consequence of how the society has been constructed. You have capitalism somewhere, you have Christianism, you have our tradition, in which the women are trapped, and with several stereotypes where you expect the women to be moving. So those are the kind of things, when you take, for example, capitalism, the women are kept into petty trading, into subsistence agriculture in their houses. When you take the religion, the women have to be the one taking care of the family and doing the unpaid jobs. And now when you take our legal system, the traditional ones, all these trap women in a situation where violence is part of their lives every day. Men are trying, and I'm glad that today you are inviting men here to come and speak about it, because usually they call that EPC, Mr. EPC, has a program where men have to go and stop the men, because usually when you are asking if the men are not doing, when a sister of a man has been touched, you will see how the man come out. When a mother of a man is being brutalized, he just get mad. But now what happened when his own wife? You see, so I think we have to touch the roots of the problem. Men are doing, but they have to go back to the roots.
You get mad when your sister is being beaten, your mother, then your own wife. What about the wife? What about another woman just hearing that a woman was beaten by the husband or your friend, or, beats of the wife? What do you do as a man?
See, honestly, to be so honest, I'm not sure any man will go get married to a woman to turn her to be a drum. You look, I once said that a woman said, mon mari me tape, est-ce que moi je suis une tam-tam? Moi je dis, est-ce que parce que tu chantes beaucoup, quand tu chantes, il tape le tam-tam, vous deux commencez à danser. When you talk too much and that you're singing, the tendency is that he tends to beat the drum. Now, the truth is that, look, marriage is something, because if we are talking, we want to talk in the framework on the husband and wife. Because if we want to go, it's so large. We want to go take it. We now want to talk. There is no man that will want to go and marry a woman to start beating the wife. Most often it's either the woman has taken the man for granted and the man is reciprocating, because before a man will react, it's either burn down anger that has made him to react spontaneously or start beating you. Okay. So by so doing, men now take the advantage of their strength to start punching. But I want to believe that if women could understand, because every case has its own, every person is a case study. Because what we are giving here is just idea. People pick it and find a place where you fit in and do it. I want to believe, because if we go, we will look at it. If I want to take it biblically, I would see what happened. A man gets frustrated or he's guilty. If you look at the book of Esther, you find that the king was so mad that he called for the queen doesn't want. The next thing is that you are divorced. You could find so many different things if I want to go. But if you look, no man wants to. No man, I would still say no man wants to beat the wife. No man wants to, except for some.
And then why you beat the woman?
Beating your wife, I don't advise a man to beat the wife. But now, let me tell you, what are the causes? One, some men, if you stop them sexually for wife, you get to 1 month, he gets so angry he becomes an animal. Everything he can reason is just stupid. He might just he's behaving without thinking. There are some other things. Financially, when the financial pressure is on him, he just gets violent. And especially when some women spend without thinking. You talk. And then the other third part, you find that man is just turning. I will not say a man wants to beat a woman.
All right. Richard Pesse, now I want to ask, when you're with your colleagues, they make you angry, right? Do you punch them? Do you beat them up?
Yes. Non, je ne vais pas riposter par la force, je vais conseiller. Et comme le disait si bien le pasteur, des fois la pression financière ou d'autres choses au sein de la famille peut pousser un homme à être violent.
Est-ce que ça résout le problème?
Ça ne résout pas le problème. Et évidemment, ça ne résout pas, mais je dis, dans un cadre conjugal, et même dans un cadre de société, tout simplement, je constate que la jeunesse, quelquefois, qui n'a pas été bien enseignée par rapport à l'élégance, à la galanterie et justement même à l'importance que peut avoir une femme au sein de notre société. Par exemple, je dirais un groupe de garçons qui se tient au coin de la rue, qui voit une jolie fille qui passe. La première des choses est de dire « Bonjour mademoiselle », de s'approcher de cette personne et de lui parler en toute question et respect. Alors quelquefois, qu'est-ce qui se passe? C'est des sifflements. Et quand la demoiselle ne répond pas, c'est des injures qui s'enchaînent. Donc vous comprenez que la violence n'est pas forcément physique, mais elle est aussi verbale quelquefois. Et elle peut atteindre le niveau psychologique qui fait que les femmes se sentent toujours vulnérables dès qu'elles sortent de leur maison. Qu'elles soient mariées ou pas mariées, les jeunes filles subissent à longueur de journée ces agressions. Donc moi, pour revenir dans la question, effectivement, si je vois un homme qui tape une femme, je vais intervenir en lui disant man, stop man, mais d'une autre manière, en donnant des conseils que non, ça ne se résout pas comme ça. Prenez le temps de discuter, calmez-vous, partez et revenez la voir plus tard. Ou inversement. Parce que la violence n'apporte rien. Un exemple pour finir, un monsieur qui habite non loin d'ici est allé séparer une bagarre. Et il s'est trouvé, ceux qui se battaient l'ont poussé et il est tombé par la nuque et il a trouvé la mort. Vous voyez que la violence peut entraîner des cas irréversibles. Donc que ce soit pour l'homme que pour la femme, la violence, non, non et non et non.
Why is it so difficult for a man to retain himself in front of the woman when the woman makes you angry? It's true, you know who your wife is. You know her attitude. You know that's how she talks. Sometimes she makes you angry. What will push you? Is that the solution, by beating her up or punching on her or any other thing? You know the woman you got married to, right?
Yeah. You see...
Where do we situate the frustration at the level of couples?
Generally, women talk more than men. And, you know, especially when a man is the close type, it is easier for such a man to respond with some other means of violence than verbal, as the case may be. But I really want us to, I don't know, I wish we get this discussion to cut across the board. Let's not streamline to men.
Let's press.
Yes.
Because this is what I want to say, please.
Okay.
Get it well. This is what I want to say. If we want to streamline violence to physical violence, it will be limiting many things.
That's right.
Yes. Let me take an example. Female genital mutilation is never done by men. It's done by women.
That's right.
And it is a major form of violence. 2, when a woman dies, when a man dies,
yes,
the people who front line encouraging the woman to sleep on the floor mostly is women, not the men. I really want us to get this thing to go across in a way that the society in general, that violence against women is bad.
That's right.
Whatever the source. As Pastor said, and as I said in my introductory statement, most of the time some of these things are reactive. Men get violent in reaction to something.
That's right.
To what?
To abuses.
To abuses. Better than thing.
From the woman.
Not the man to abuses a woman.
Sorry?
When the man abuses a woman, what does she do? Because she doesn't have that power.
No. That's what I say. If we keep taking it physical, we are going to miss out on many things.
Okay.
So I want us to talk violence as violence in its form.
Yes.
If we talk about violence, I want to limit it.
Okay.
We will miss out on, because majority of the cases of violence are not physical.
Let's go ahead.
Majority of violence in society against the women is not physical. There are many things that are happening out there in homes that maybe some women have really, they have suffered with a lot of things for many years that nobody knows anything about, just because it never turned physical to the point where it never heard that something happened, she was punched or something. But they are suffering with so many things in there. So if we want to limit it to physical, we are going to end up not edifying our viewers to the level we ought to edify them in the course of this discussion. So what I'm saying in essence is this: women are actually a blessing to our society.
That's true.
And me, I don't take it for granted when I see a man turn violence, especially physical violence against a woman. I don't like it at all. The best thing men can do for themselves is, when you feel abused, the best thing is you can retreat. When you retreat, many things can get sorted out before you are reacting. But if you want to react right there, the tendency will be that you get violent against a woman. So we cannot deny the fact that men are violent towards women. But as I've said, many a time they are reacting to something. Pastor said something there. For instance, a man has, worked tooth and nail, brought a few resources he has brought back home, and the next minute he sees human hair of 120,000 on the woman's head. The next thing he sees, they go and gather okrika, these dresses, we call these second-handed dresses, and fill the house everywhere. The man looks at himself and like, all this pressure that he's been having on the field, you see the tendency will be for him to turn violent at the woman by like, okay, going forward, this is a financial discipline I'm going to institute in this home. Going forward, this is what I'm going to do, and so on and so forth. So when these things are happening and we are only looking at the violent part of it, we are going to miss out on so many things in society. Then, also talking about violence just within the scope of marriage will also limit many things here. We have had rape cases. Cases where our young girls are raped out there. We are not happy about it. And that's why most of the time rapists are subjected to mob justice. Yes. When they do. It shows that men are not happy about it. But the thing is, we should avoid aspects that push men to react to them. For instance, there are some people who are raped because they were poorly dressed.
That's right.
Are we saying that the man is right in what he did? No. But there was a factor that provoked the man into doing that. So if we can educate our young girls that when they're leaving home, make sure the sensitive parts of your body are well covered. Your breasts should not be hanging outside as if you're moving, you want to breastfeed somebody out there, or your lungs are all exposed out there. In fact, we are going to be, curbing the thing somehow, so that we are not only going to, mob justice against a man who raped a lady. And
now, when a woman comes back home, maybe with a human hair worth 500,000 francs, to you, what's the procedure? You ask questions, because I'm sure it's not the first time. It starts gradually. What do you do as a man?
Most of the time,
you get angry, you're frustrated, you're boiling, without asking questions.
No, most
what
often,
about dialogue?
Get this. Most often, the reaction will be based on precedence. She did it the other time. You said the last time what she bought was high heel for 30,000 when there was no, in fact, the family was barely surviving. You spoke, and she decided to switch gear this time and come with another thing. So nobody will see the wife come for the first time, maybe, and just get violent. Maybe from the discussions in the past, the person now gets frustrated because there is no change from what is being said in the past. So precedence is at times one of the factors that will make people to turn violent in some of the things.
I can see Giselle is itching to talk.
Yes, absolutely, because I think I'm glad to have Pastor here, because all what you have raised as example are mainly showing that men lack self-control. They have been beating the woman because she has been talkative. They are raping the women because they think that she's poorly dressed. Why are not the women raping you because maybe you are also poorly dressed? I think it's about self-control. And I'm glad the pastor is here to be able to address that issue, because you are not animals, so that if a girl just passes in the road and this and that, I don't think, I've not seen the women jump on you because you have those tight, sweat or all those kind of dress on you. That is my first point. I think the violence is about the society. I don't believe that men has a right to start correcting a woman. A wife is not his child, you see. And as I start saying, is how the society is constructed. Why should the man be the only breadwinner at home? Why should the care that the woman is giving to the whole family not being remunerated? Because she can also, out of all the work that she's doing inside the house, being able to buy herself this kind of hair that she wants. Why should the man be the only person bringing the money? And this is, for the society is being exploiting both the men and the women, because we are doing some work that is not paid, and our husbands are badly paid. So now when he has to buy just some hair, he starts complaining and wanted to punch the woman because he has been able to buy her, to give her nice ring.
Doesn't mean
or
that
something
what the
like
woman
that.
and she has a right to just spend in the way she wants?
No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that woman, with all the work she's doing in the society, she has the right to earn something.
Maybe the man is frustrated because maybe they have problems at home, and what normally he needs help from the woman. What he gets in, he gets maybe she gets into exaggerating her lifestyle. That's not what he wants. But that does not explain the fact that the man must.
No. The woman is working and is not being paid. That's the fact.
The Bible says, he who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor from God. It did not say he will get married. That's something people understand. You've given a woman, you've given a girl, but you find a wife in that girl. And now by finding, it's a process, because it's not something that is going to occur. It needs that woman to submit, learn to. You've come not to compare with me, but to complete, meaning that you submit under me. Now, by listening to me, most women, we find the case of what my learned colleague that end said. not about maybe the hair, because before coming to that stage, she's because of she's comparing. She wants to compete with some people outside there.
The transformation coming.
Yes, and you see the transformation coming. If you're a woman, you're married to a woman who had lived, because when they say a man should leave his family, they know that the woman has already left her family. So you join to this man, meaning that you listen to this man. It's not about, I once asked a woman, you've never slept with your father in the same room for 5 years, but you've stayed in a man in the same room for 10 years, but you don't still respect this man. Probably your father took care for you up to the age of 18, and you were married for 20 years, but you still think about your father being more. But you forget to know that the only person who knows you right now is your husband. He knows you, the in and out. He knows your nakedness. He knows everything about you. Even your doctor doesn't know. But probably sometimes we tend to respect even their elder brothers than even your husband. Do you know where the problem comes? You still see the man as a baby inside the room. Because when you see, especially women take advantage of men, especially when they're in the room. The man is a baby in the room. But the man wants to come into the parlor and become the king. You don't want to give him the place as a king. You still see him as a baby in the room. He starts feeling frustrated. And then secondly, when the man is outside, you see him now as a man. Now, sometimes you might see me, I might go outside, he's my boss. I must submit to him. Then you come out, you come and tell me, you can go and submit to Tato outside there, their small brother. But in the house, look at you. Your power then on top of me. But that's my boss. Or probably I'm the man there, I'm trying to hustle. They provoke you in such a way. I do not tolerate violence in any form, but I want the women to understand their roles. We are all equal. We are equal to the women. They were taken out of our rib, not out of our back or our front. We are equal. So, understand your role, I understand my role. If we do understand our roles, there will not be any violence, even shouting. And sometimes they humiliate you. They think the man hate is for you to humiliate him in front of people. You know that women have men beaten? But because a man will not come outside to tell you up front that my wife had me.
Kill the men.
Oh, we have cases. They poison them. They poison them. They do. I don't want to come here to talk. I have.
Percentage are we talking about? We are talking about women because they are the weaker force. The percentage of women that die is growing. It's true that men do beat women, beat men as well. But what's the percentage? What's the ratio? It's very slim.
No.
On 10 men. Maybe just one can complain that maybe the woman raised a hand on.
See, we are looking something. Let me say something before I end.
Okay.
Look, they can only tell an elderly person to submit to a lower person. Do you know that? Because if I am stronger than you, they do not tell you to submit because you know that I am so dangerous, I can kill you. So now you have to know that the woman is so strong. That's why they tell the woman to submit. Okay. If we don't have that...
Now, I want to ask you, you're a married man, right? Has your wife ever provoked you?
Many times.
And what did you do?
Well, I see, to be honest, I won't say that I'm sitting here.
Practical.
Yeah,
let's
practical.
Yes.
To be honest, I've never beaten my wife, but I think I'm the yelling type because I turn my anger into yelling. I can shout here. I can just be that one that looks so frightful, to be honest. But I've never beaten my wife, maybe because I know my strength. I know what my punch could do. I never.
So what do? You walk away?
Oh, well, most often I stay quiet. But sometimes you stay quiet, they keep provoking until they will talk because they want you to say something. If you say something... So, most often, for one, I like music. I'll go and turn off music or I come out of the house. I don't drink. But now I come back at times. Then I'll try...
problem.
Well, I come back, I must talk because I too am the talking type. I must bring you to reason. And I try to bring you back. I take you from A, B, Z, and D. It is about you. It is about your home. And then sometimes it's just pride. And then one of the things that even cause this violence is women and their friends. Just like what Pastor said, my learned colleague there said. Look, when they carry their problems to other women, they don't tell them what happened exactly. They narrate their own part of the story and bring in sentiment. There are two things that women use. They use sentiment and then they use a wrong answer, the wrong motive to come in. And when she comes in now, but a man, that's why I said sometimes to women, I said sometimes for you to find a problem, don't always express that it's you. Tell your friend that your friend has a problem. You need an advice. From there, they'll give you the best advice. But if you say it is you, they will want to be so sentimental to you by seeing with you with your own problem, and they always give you something that is negative.
Richard Pessé, you've been quiet. Est-ce que vous avez eu, dans les moments de ton couple, have you had moments where you have been frustrated by your wife?
Ben écoutez, dans la vie de couple, il y a les hauts et les bas. Ça, c'est la vie humaine qui est comme ça. Les rapports humains sont déjà, c'est-à-dire que même en tant que frère et sœur d'une même famille, les rapports humains sont un peu difficiles. Donc, comme disait le pasteur, effectivement, la nature de la femme, c'est sa bouche. Et quelquefois, quand elle veut vous pousser au dernier retranchement, elle va parler pour que vous puissiez dire quelque chose quand même. Parce que même la solution, quelquefois, qui voudrait qu'on se taise et qu'on écoute, ne suffit pas parfois. Alors, la meilleure des manières, selon moi, c'est de commencer un travail d'éducation. De la même manière qu'on éduque ses enfants, on peut s'éduquer soi-même, mais aussi éduquer sa femme. Parce que, encore une fois, je n'oublie pas que la femme comme l'homme, nous sommes tous des êtres humains avec nos forces et faiblesses, avec nos défauts et qualités. Donc, dans la vie d'un couple, à mon sens, je pense que le dialogue doit toujours être installé. Quand on commence à le faire, on finit par cueillir les fruits au bout de quelques années. C'est pas que ça se fait de lundi, ça se termine dimanche. C'est un travail de longue haleine, de la même manière qu'on éduque ses enfants, pour que quand ils grandissent avec des valeurs. C'est aussi ça que je pense être important et nécessaire au sein d'un couple. Parce que quand on vous provoque, évidemment que les coups d'un homme pèsent tellement autant que on n'imagine pas un homme en tête taper une femme et les conséquences que ça peut avoir après. Donc il faut se retenir.
C'est vrai que ta femme est dans ce studio, mais je reviens sur ma question.
Oui.
Est-ce que vous avez eu des moments où ça t'arrive que vous êtes... You're angry?
Pour parler de ma vie, c'est une femme qui est très mature. C'est-à-dire que quand moi, je sens que je suis un petit peu énervé, mais elle va apporter comme de l'eau, comme éteindre un incendie. Elle va plutôt être calme. Et donc, ça va m'obliger, moi...
C'est-à-dire qu'elle vous connaît?
Elle me connaît, oui, effectivement. Elle va être tellement calme qu'au bout d'un moment, je vais me calmer aussi. Vous comprenez? Donc, mais tout ça n'est pas pareil d'un couple à l'autre. Ça peut s'interpréter différemment, mais moi je dis, mais jamais, comme disait le pasteur, je ne porterai pas un seul coup. Jamais je ne le ferai, parce que pour l'amour et le respect que j'ai pour elle, je ne le ferai pas. Mais il arrive à tout homme d'être dans une situation de colère. Et alors à ce moment-là, moi je conseillerais aussi à nos sœurs, à nos épouses, que ne poussez pas trop loin les bouchons non plus, parce que tous les hommes n'ont pas la maîtrise de soi. Donc il faut à un moment donné que si le message n'est pas passé, revenez sur la question un peu plus tard, mais avec une autre forme de présentation.
All right, Kenneth, have you had like worst moments in your marriage where you feel like leaving that marriage? Or maybe in a couple's life we have the ups and the downs. Have you had those moments?
Yeah.
How did you manage them?
To say within the number of years I'm married, to say there have not been challenging moments would be a dishonest utterance. But to say it got to a point where I thought of leaving the marriage is in fact, I've not gotten to that. I think there is something we are missing out on, which I want to insist, and I want us to get back to it. When we keep bringing in physical violence to be the center of this thing, we are missing out. I stand to be corrected. I think, one, if you want to check very well, men in this society suffer more violence than women. I think so. Look at it this way. If we got to this place, Pastor, we got to a point here, and there is mud, and where everybody is struggling to cross. A man is standing there and a woman is standing. I think you will do the best you can to assist the woman cross. That's true. Rather than the man standing by. How else do the women want the men to be gentle towards them? Two, most of the time, men suffer other forms of violence from women. But now that the society has branded physical violence to be the most challenging, that is where other forms are suppressed, which is not helping society, because he decided to retaliate with physical violence. A man was sexually abused. He decides, because when we talk about sexual abuse, it's not only rape.
That's right.
Starving your husband or wearing cologne and jean trousers and sleeping with is a form of physical abuse. So what I'm saying in essence is, if we can get to a point where we educate ourselves in the society to know that violence, be it towards the man or towards the woman, is a bad thing, it will lay a better foundation for us to make it too gender sensitive.
Okay.
Yes, I think we should. In fact, we should condemn violence in all its forms. It will help us more. I'm saying so to buttress the point I've said that most of the time we streamline violence to physical violence in the society. Gender-based violence.
All forms of
Let violence in its forms, in fact, be completely eradicated. Reason being that if we handle it from that perspective, you come to terms with the fact that many men, because I don't know, this is not scientific. I'm sure about 70%, well, within couple life, about 75% of violence against women is reactive.
Yes.
I think so. About 75% of violence against women in marriages is reactive. So, if we now get to a point where we handle the causes, reactions will by default be handled. By default, the reactions would have been handled. Now, going back to the aspect of the African man's mindset, I also want to disagree with most men who think that in matters of learning how to live in society or live couple life, it is the women who are supposed to learn. All of us are supposed to be students in acquiring information and getting the knowledge and the practicalities of how we are supposed to live in life or to live a marriage successfully. If we keep thinking that it's the women who are supposed to learn, we are missing out. And that is why most often when you're discussing about issues that relate to relationships, you hear men like, how I wish my wife were here so that she can listen to this. How I wish my wife was here. Of which he himself needs even more of that. Yes, more of it. And then we also have cases where most of the time you see our mama here, they talk about educating the girl child, but the boy child has most often been left to himself. They grow up and saw how their father was a king in his kingdom, and then they grow up to think that the African man is supposed to be incarnated by being the boss, which is a very wrong thing. We are supposed to get to a point where we educate from the childhood and get the mindsets of people aligned with the fact that each and every one of us is supposed to learn and get information that makes us a better version of ourselves.
All right. Giselle, from what is being said here, the woman is the one pushing the man to the wall.
Pastor is here. We are talking of peace. How do we bring peace in our house? How do we get each other to know each one very well? In such a way that when the tune is high, the other one bring it down. Is what bring peace inside the house. Is not nobody is going
solutions to that. How do you raise down your voice? Out of respect, yes, just go ahead.
Yes, I raise down my voice because I know my man. I know when he's angry, and I wait and get back to him when he can listen, because two people speaking loud at the same time, nobody is going to follow. So, and you said something very important, is that the violence is everywhere. That's where I'm going back to what I've said in the beginning. The violence is even the way the society is constructed. The men will wake up in the morning, go and have a tiny job with a small pay, and he has to be the breadwinner in the house. So he come in house with a stress for not having been a big man that he would have loved to be in his house. How do we look into building a just society where everybody can contribute to the house in such a way that everybody feel that he's supporting the family, not that the man just feel that I'm the only one bringing, I'm the only one coming, and all this stress on the man makes that when you talk of life expectancy, I think the men die earlier than women. Is not because is all those stress that have been coming from outside, and that they come inside the house and start beating their wives. So the men should also start thinking of addressing the stress on the society in such a way that, because all this gender violence is rooted in gender inequality. women are not going to the same school as men, women are not accessing land, women are not accessing certain power, and so on and so forth. We want to see ourselves in the society as, partners, as comrades, not just as somebody going, having to go outside and bring the bread inside the family, but all of us having to win, to bring to bring revenue to our family as a couple, as a family.
Thank you so much, Giselle. You're leaving, but we continue with the program. We equally sample the opinion of some men out there for them to tell us the role you're playing or what can be your contribution in ending gender-based violence in communities. Let's watch. We'll right back.
Pour arrêter cette violence, je dis les hommes doivent se faire violence, c'est-à-dire s'abstenir de violenter la femme, supporter la colère, l'écumer, digérer la colère. Si la femme t'a énervé, tu fais l'effort de vider les méchantes paroles de ta tête.
Mais généralement, on parle de don assistance à personne en danger. Parce que si on tape sur une femme, ça veut dire qu'elle est en danger. Hein. Et si on a un voisin, tu dis, moi, voisin, quand même, qu'est-ce qui se passe? Pardon, calmez-vous. Je pense que le réflexe naturel, c'est que le gars, si c'est un voisin normal, bon, on doit venir vers lui et lui dire, ben, écoute, qu'est-ce que c'est parce que tu ne fais pas bien. Sans s'ingérer dans leur vie de couple. Parce que vous savez, la vie de couple, c'est souvent comme l'écorce et l'arbre. Hein. Des fois, vous mettez votre doigt là, ça peut rester.
Tous les hommes ne sont pas des misogynes ou encore des machos. Ça veut dire qu'il y a des hommes qui connaissent encore la valeur de la femme. Et parlant de ça, je me dis qu'un homme, par exemple, s'il, dans la rue, il se rend compte qu'une femme est en train d'être malmenée, il a le droit de la défendre. Du coup, ce genre d'homme, vous voyez un peu, peut être associé à d'autres hommes pour essayer de défendre les femmes. Parce qu'en réalité, s'il faut qu'on parle de défense des droits de la femme, c'est une question d'entente entre certains hommes qui ont encore d'amour et qui reconnaissent la valeur de la femme. Et je crois que c'est possible. C'est très possible parce que aujourd'hui, les hommes ne sont pas que des méchants. Vous voyez un peu. Et tout dépend aussi de la manière dont l'homme et la femme, du moins dans votre cadre, en tant que mari et femme, vous vous entendez. Vous croyez que si un homme chez lui est bien entretenu par sa femme, est-ce qu'il va avoir ce penchant de misogyne envers la femme? Non. Et pour revenir à la question, moi je me dis que c'est possible que les hommes se mettent ensemble, mais de quelle manière? C'est-à-dire que en sensibilisant un peu, ou encore en défendant la femme dans la rue, quand il y a eu quelconque violence, ou alors un viol, pourquoi pas. Et ça part aussi de l'éducation qu'on a à la femme, à l'enfant, étant petite à la maison, à l'enfant qui est fille.
Another lady has joined us, Lady Ngo Epese. Let me call her. She's a wife of Risha Epese. And since we're talking about how men could effectively end gender-based violence, she's part of a campaign with her husband to see how they could mobilize more men on board to end gender-based violence. So welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
I'm sure you've been listening and you have some issues to say concerning how men could possibly end gender-based violence.
Well, I think this is going to keep men busy, having to stop other men getting into gender abuse. But I want to react to what I've heard earlier. I've heard so many things like, women will go to their friends and speak and then have wrong advice and so on and so forth. I'll take this opportunity to tell men that you should know that you should be able to talk. It's not only about football, it's not only about girls, it's about having your partner and being able to share, having conversations with that partner. And this, if a woman finds a partner in the home, she will not go to girlfriends, families, whatever. That's one thing. I want also to take advantage and say that even women who are working, who are making good living, are still going under gender abuse. So it's not about poor women and working men, and there is something wrong about whether they're misusing the money or not. I want to point out that in all societies, even when women are educated, even if they have good jobs, men can be frustrated. So I think that men should be able to handle their frustration. you mentioned the fact that she is not dressed properly, so she's going to be raped. So we should teach our girls to dress properly. No, you men should teach young boys to behave properly, even if they are in front of a naked woman. That is what it's all about. Because we are not animals, men are not animals either. And I want to say that I should have started with that point. This gender matter has not been properly addressed. Okay. It is a matter of power, economic. If we understand that this is a nation, here are men, here are women, and up to now, all nations work like this, with one hand. But a nation, a house, a family needs to be powerful. So let us take the two hands and empower them to be able to bring something to the family, to the nation. So if we address the subject as an economical issue, definitely all the head of states, all the governments, all the decision makers are going to make sure that women also are empowered enough so that we no longer spend half an hour to describe why they're buying hair or whatever, or misusing money. That's not the point. And the last point I will mention maybe is that violence is not an option, should not be any option. Because when you are frustrated, okay, and then you go, you use violence against
a fellow man and tell him that you need to stop violence on a woman.
I want to think that it's not about men.
No, we're looking at solutions here.
Yes, the solution,
women,
yes.
We have conferences where we bring women together.
Have to go back.
This time we think that women are partners to men.
Yes.
We bring the men on board to talk about the violence they perpetrate on the women.
I think that it's time that we go back to our families, right from childhood, right from when they are young. I've not seen a place that they teach people on how, or young men on how to become husbands, or young women on how to become wives. They just find themselves and then they get into it. I think from the church, the family, the Njangi house, or what they call Tonting and some stuff, we have to go back. Before, people used to say they like Bamileke women because they are respected. They accept polygamy because that's why they have been taught. We find in some other religions, some people accept some certain things because we have to know. So it's a matter now of education. We have to take away the old mindset and bring it. It's a matter of all of us. Because if the women, they know their place.
What are you educating? What do we
now you have to tell everybody to know his or her position. If you're getting married, this is what is going to happen. Marriage is not going to be this, it's not going to be that. You have to start right from. I've not seen any home. It's me that in my own home now I'm trying to teach my girl and my boys on how to become husbands and wives. Because it's different. It's quite different. If we don't teach them, even in church, and I know even in our church, I think I've been head of some marriage committee, but what they want to come is just to tell them how they get married and what are the things. But there's a pre-marital counseling, well, which sometimes is difficult because it's just for months. But I think that if it is being taught from schools, just imagine that somebody from one, by the time he gets to high school, he has an education on how to run a house, on how to be a man in the house and run away from violence. I think that we should do that. And even in our Sunday schools should not be just for children. They should have a Sunday school for the men who are old now. So they go to church early, and the women, they should have a Sunday school that they talk to them about. As you said, people should discuss. People should air out their problems and find the solution. So.
All right, Risha Epese, I would like you to tell me more about your concepts. Man, stop man. How do you intend to mobilize men to end violence against women? How do you intend to do it?
Alors déjà j'ai commencé par mettre dans cet album qui vient de sortir un titre qui rend hommage à la femme pour reconnaître quand même la place de la femme dans la société. Mais maintenant quand je reviens sur la cause qui est Man Stop Man, c'est une campagne qui est menée dans le monde entier. En France, au Cameroun où on est actuellement, on vient de faire un événement qui concerne justement cette cause-là. On a rassemblé 2 équipes de football de Douala parce que c'est des jeunes joueurs. Et qui mieux que les jeunes pour être éduqués par rapport à ces choses-là? Parce qu'en grandissant, ils perdent un peu les valeurs si on ne leur apporte pas cela. Donc, le message est en train de passer, mais c'est un travail de longue haleine qui prendra beaucoup de temps. L'idée, c'est de rencontrer, de vulgariser même ce message « Man Stop Man » à travers le grand public. Parce que si on le fait en milieu restreint, tout le monde n'est pas en train de nous regarder et il ne nous regardera pas. Mais l'idée, c'est de vraiment vulgariser cette idée de manière à ce que les gens soient sensibilisés par rapport à ce fléau.
Vous avez l'impression que cette campagne va marcher?
Ce n'est que le début au Cameroun, mais cette campagne a déjà commencé depuis bien longtemps en France et dans d'autres pays. Et on est au Cameroun actuellement pour sensibiliser les Camerounais. Et ce n'est que le début parce que je reviendrai au mois d'août pour continuer ce travail qui doit être un travail de longue haleine, hein, ensemble avec les hommes, ensemble avec le pasteur, ensemble. Voilà. Et donc le pasteur dans son église va sensibiliser la jeunesse qui est dans son église, les hommes même qui viennent dans cette église tous les dimanches, notre cher ami, le collègue, dans son lieu de travail. Et c'est comme ça qu'on peut porter très loin cette idée pour éradiquer ces choses-là.
Okay. Kenneth, what are the major steps a man can take to end violence?
I want to talk about the steps that the society can take to stop violence. You wouldn't derail me from this idea. I believe in what I'm saying, in fact, from the bottom of my heart. Right. It's an issue of society, it's not an issue of the man only. If we keep streamlining it to the man stopping violence, our success rate is going to be very minimal. This is because the men will do as much as they can. But if root causes are not identified and treated, we will be running very fast on the same spot.
You have identified the root causes already.
Have we agreed on it? Because we are still coming back to say men stopping violence. If we cannot look at it as a societal issue, if we want to treat
one of the root causes is a societal issue.
What it felt like. So.
Sorry?
One of the root
has to do with all of us, because if we sensitize men that men stop violence, men stop violence. Excuse me. If we say men should stop violence and the root cause is not addressed, men will want to Madam, let me speak, please. Men will want to express restraint. But when they want to exercise restraint and they're still being provoked, we will be running very fast on the same spot. That's what I'm talking about. So the education is supposed to cut across educating the men and the women as well, so that everybody knows what his or her role is supposed to be. Because if we say men should know this is their role, okay, now men should know that they have to protect the woman. 1, 2, men should exercise restraint. 3, men should should fight very hard to create equal opportunities. But then, if all of this is being done, of which there is no reaction, no corresponding action from we are going to be frustrated. Believe what I'm talking about.
All right, lady.
I am a women rights researcher. When we talk about men mobilizing other men, it's not about women doing nothing. It's both parts, please. It's a crucial issue. We have to understand that it depends on people's lives. We have to do work both sides. Nobody never ever said that having men being aware of, talking together to work on their side means that women should not be doing.
I'm not talking against Man Stop Man project. I didn't.
It's not about Men Stop Man.
Yeah,
that's as you said, and I do agree with you. It's a social issue. So we have to do all our best, all together. Get into that for a better future.
That's what I'm saying.
It's not about accusing anybody.
That's
so
what I'm
when
saying.
you guys are making excuses, explaining that gender abuse or female mutilation or whatever, or abuse against widows is done by women, yes, in the world of men and women, because when you are a widow, you were not married to a woman, you were married to a man, and we have our traditions and cultures, and who are the decision makers, traditionally speaking? Women are not the ones. So if we want to change certain things, let us not just talk like that and pretend that because of mean women that those things are going on. No, that violence is so socially generated. And I want to end by saying that gender abuse, unfortunately, is only a consequence of the fact that violence, generally speaking, has not been addressed properly. It's there because all the other violences are there. And yes, sir, you are right. It's not only about physical abuse. harassment and all type of violence, socially speaking, are there, and we have to take that into consideration and understand that it is really bad for everybody as a whole, a family, a nation. So it's good for nobody, no matter the people who do that or the victims.
All right, our time has expired. Pastor, I'd like you to look at the camera. There's just a few seconds. You're saying something to someone out there. They are addressing the main or society. You're saying something just for a minute. Just a few seconds.
I think I want to talk to somebody out there that violence is not good to anybody. Any form of violence is not good. I want to plead that even God himself said in the book of Isaiah chapter 1 verse 18, say, come and let's reason together. No matter how your sins are like, right, or we can reason. So I believe that people can reason. People can still talk. You can still find somebody. We can find pastors, counselors, elderly people in the society to resolve problems rather than using violence. Thank you.
Thank you. Richard Epesse, quelques secondes, tu parles à quelqu'un.
Alors, je dirais à toutes les personnes, tous les hommes concernés, les jeunes, les moins jeunes, les vieux, que la violence n'est en aucun cas une forme de solution. Donc nous ne devons pas faire recours à la violence, quelle que soit la situation. Nous devons dialoguer, éduquer et apporter, on va dire, de l'amour même dans ce que nous voulons semer autour de nous. Donc je dis non à la violence et man, stop man.
All right, Kenneth, seconds, please.
I want to say violence is a demonstration of animosity. So violence should totally and completely be eradicated from our society. We do all within our ranks and merits to see that we avoid being violent. When there's an issue, we try as much as possible to address as human beings and not like animals.
Lady,
I'll say it in French. C'est ensemble que nous sommes forts. Mesdames et messieurs, combattons la violence. Elle n'apporte rien de positif.